Whether your beer is in a bottle, can, or glass, kick back and relax. It's better on draft.
Well, I think we are live now. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Better on Draft, the amateur hour, apparently. It's Wendy and Rob here having a good time. We are live with episode 356. We were going to have Go Brewing, an up-and-coming non-alcoholic brewery out of Illinois, not Indiana. But we're not sure what happened, so we are going to just shoot the shit for an hour. So,
all right.
Rob, what you drinking?
Well, oddly enough, I have a suspended in a sunbeam pills from Go Brewing.
I was smart enough to bring extra beer up to my little office here, recording studio, whatever you want to call it. So I am drinking a Brewery Vermont's Wizard Burial Ground. We just had them on, and I could not get this then, so I made sure to pick it up the next time I saw it.
Excellent. What kind of beer is that, Wizard Burial Ground?
Is a bourbon barrel-aged quadruple ale.
Holy crap,
and
that sounds amazing.
Very sweet and delicious, and I should not be drinking it out of a cup this big, but cheers to Friday night.
Hey, Friday night. Yes, my wife just cracked open, it might be our last maple barrel aged qualified from Taxman, so a quad.
Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That was fucking delicious.
You're welcome. Yeah, I love that beer.
I meant to do a beer review on it, but I really liked it, so I didn't get the chance to sit down and do that. I'll have to try it again sometime.
That's one, when it shows up on the shelves, I quickly grab a 4-pack. I usually grab another 4-pack the next day.
Yeah, it was really sweet, which I wasn't expecting. But then I just tried this Wizard Burial Ground. It's been a while since I've had it, and I'm like, holy cow, that's sweet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, those quads, they sneak up on you. They got the nice stone fruit flavors in them, and there's some sweetness to them, but hopefully they have the Belgian funk as well.
Yes, it definitely, I really like the stone fruits in the quads. That's what kind of draws me to them. This one is a bourbon barrel aged, though, so it's a 13.1% as well.
Yeah, nice.
Which is kind of actually, I mean, usually your quads are going to be up in that range anyways, close to.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to be high anyway, but yeah, it makes for an interesting night.
So what have you looked at in the beer world this week?
Well, I've done looked at a few things. I was doing some research for this podcast, and came across some interesting stuff about non-alcoholic beer, specifically around whether it should or shouldn't be served on tap. And a friend of mine who we've had on the show before, Greg from New Zealand, from Brewocracy Brewing in Hamilton, New Zealand. If anyone is ever down there, they should stop in and say hello. He let me know that the New Zealand Brewers Guild reached out to all the breweries just to let them know if they're planning to serve non-alcoholic beer on tap, they should be careful about it, because since there's no alcohol in there, other bacteria and such can grow in there. There was an interesting sentence in a Cornell study. I'll see if I can find it. Here we go. They quoted a study called "The Survival of Foodborne Pathogens in Low and Non-Alcoholic Craft Beer." So there's been a lot of studies and a lot of education about alcoholic beer and how it kills, all of the pathogens that are harmful to humans because of the alcohol and the hops and just the way it's all brewed. But the non-alcoholic and low alcoholic, there haven't been as many studies for those, and there's some suspicion that foodborne pathogens could survive. So the long and the short of it, well, that was the long of it. The short of it is, if you're going to serve low alcohol or no alcohol beer on tap, you need to make sure that you're cleaning your taps pretty regularly. You should be pasteurizing your beer if you're going to be shipping it out in cans, and you just need to treat it very differently because it doesn't have the low pH of soda. It doesn't have the alcohol of beer. So you just have to make sure that you kill all the nasty bugs before they get out to the people.
That makes sense. Now I have a million questions for our guests. I hope we get to reschedule. It's a very fascinating story, so I can't wait to talk to them. I too was looking up some non-alcoholic beer information, and I learned that there is a certification in non-alcoholic beer. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
I have to look up real quick again what the name of it was. I can't remember what I said.
So I'm wondering what the certification ends up meaning. Is it for like that you are certified as a non-alcoholic beer brewer, handler? Do you know?
So I'm going to look that up while we're talking. So
Okay.
my one of the stories that I picked to talk about for news
Yes.
is that I don't think a lot of people realize that the American Craft Beer Hall of Fame was established this year.
I
And
did
they
not know
just
that.
introduced on October 23rd an inaugural class of nominees. So I thought that was just fascinating, and we can talk about that in a minute. But I was looking at how it came about and who the board of directors were. And one of the board of directors has this certification. It is the AFNA Beer Certified.
Okay. Interesting. I have brought this up, the aficionado certification program. It looks like it's sort of akin to a Cicerone program.
It does, and they had different beverages in there. It's non-alcoholic beer, there's wines, and then there was cannabis beverages were the options that you could choose from. So it looks like their learning objections for the exam are to be conversant in the standardized language of alcohol-free and non-alcoholic adult beer, wine, spirits, cannabis beverage, including key flavor words and core offerings, master the understanding of how these beverages are presented, handled, sold, and served from their alcoholic counterparts, and learn the most common ways the flavor of AFNA beer, wine, spirits, cannabis can be compromised and how to prevent that from happening or be aware of its ability to happen in production and service.
Interesting. So it sounds like it got into that thing that I found about the taps and whether you can serve it on draft.
Yep, absolutely. So I just thought that was fascinating that the NA market has gotten so big that they now have a certification program. Just like if you wanted to be a rum judge or a sake expert, you can get those certifications as well.
It makes sense. As I am drinking this non-alcoholic beer, there is a flavor. So it is definitely a pilsner. Like it tastes like a pilsner, like you would hope it would. And there's just some other flavor in there that I'm not quite sure what it is. Doesn't ruin the beer or anything. It's just there. It's just another flavor. It's pretty good, but yeah, I think I need one of these AFNA people to explain to me what I'm tasting.
Right?
I can't quite put a name to what this flavor is.
Well, I have my hands full with the Cicerone testing that I'm planning to do here in the upcoming months. So once we get through that, then maybe I'll look at this NA program.
Yeah, and then you can do the cannabis one after that.
Because I really am interested in the NA beer because I like the taste of beer, but it's not always appropriate to have the alcohol. So to me, I think it's the best of both worlds if we can get it to taste the way we want to.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So is that all about the NA?
I don't
Do you
have
have
any
more
other questions about the NA.
I don't know if I can
don't-
answer any of your questions,
I
but
know.
I'm more than willing to talk about it with you.
That's the next person we need to find is an AFNA person to talk to us about
Right?
what it is. Yeah. No, I would like to hear more about the Craft Beer Hall of Fame.
Okay, yeah. So let's go back to this Craft Beer Hall of Fame. So it was, hang on, let me find the Craft Beer Hall of Fame has been established to honor, celebrate, and commit to history those people who are responsible for initiating, sustaining, and promoting the American craft beer industry. This hall is to ensure that the memories of their contributions and achievements will not fade with time. So I definitely suggest that if you are a fan of craft beer, you go and look at they have a timeline on here that is amazing. Like if you like history and you want to look back at that, it's pretty detailed. And of course, it ends with the beginning of this year when they incorporated the Craft Beer Hall of Fame.
Okay, I managed to find it.
So, and the inaugural class, I just want to pull them up so that I can read their names off properly.
Yes.
The inaugural class of nominees came out on October 23rd. The American Craft Beer Hall of Fame is proud and excited to announce the nominees for its inaugural class of inductees, founded with the mission of honoring and remembering those who have contributed to the growth and success of America's craft beer industry. The Hall hopes to inspire current and future generations to continue to innovate and collaborate so that it may thrive for many years to come. A board of advisors made up of many craft beer's most respected and notable analysts, commentators, and advocates came to consensus on the following 19 nominees for enshrinement in the hall. And these are in alphabetical order. Charlie Bamforth, Larry Bell, Sam Calagione, I know I never say that right,
Yeah.
Fred Eckhart, Terry Ferendorf, Charles Finkel, Burt Grant, Ken Grossman, Julia Herz, Michael Jackson, Kim Jordan, Kim Cope, I can't even talk, Jim Cope, Fritz Maytag, Jack McAuliffe, Garrett Oliver, Charlie Papazian, Pete Schlossberg, Carol Stout, and Don Younger. These people represent various facets of the industry, brewery owners, brewers, writers, educators, and others. They are recognized by the Hall for their involvement in and support of the craft beer industry, the American craft beer industry. Craft beer is a community as much as an industry, explains board member and secretary Aaron Gore. He, by the way, was the AFNA guy that I looked up.
Okay.
And like any community, it is important that we recognize those who have given so much to growing and fostering it. We're proud to be able to provide a platform for that recognition and to hopefully inspire others in their own efforts to do the same. The Hall's electors will vote on the inaugural class of inductees in November 2024, and the announcement of those elected for enshrinement will be made in February 2025. So I think that's a pretty cool list.
That is. So, and those are all, I guess, the nominees. They just haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't been inducted yet.
Yes.
Interesting.
So, and there's a couple of those people who have been on our show.
Well, and then a lot of the names are people I've at least heard of. I could probably put with books or with breweries. Yes.
Right. I've either read their book,
Yeah.
drank their beer. Julia Herz actually inspired me to try home brewing. I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to keep trying because if she says I can do it, I believe I can.
Mm-hmm. Anyone
so
can
I
homebrew.
just thought, yeah, you say that, but I'm on. This will be batch number 4 the next time I try it.
Okay.
And I still haven't gotten it to ferment, so I'm doing something wrong in there.
Okay. So it's not flavor. It's not a flavor problem. It's something's causing it to not ferment.
No, I'm actually not doing the process right somehow.
Okay.
But I'm also doing it completely off of YouTube. So.
Okay. I've never tried that. I thought
normally
normally you find someone who homebrews and they bring over some homebrew and you drink their homebrew while you homebrew.
Right. So I've actually done that process. Like I've been to breweries where I've helped brew. I've watched the brewing process. I know
Hmm.
what the process is.
Yeah.
And my dad and I decided we were going to try and make this happen. So I bought a kit. Thanks to Julia Hers, actually, I bought it the night she was on our show, and we did not make it work at all.
That's
So we
interesting.
dumped that one out and we tried again, and
Uh-huh.
that didn't work. So I tried again on my own, and it still didn't work. So
Huh.
now I'm going to have my homebrewing friends come and help me.
I think that's the traditional way, yes.
Yeah. So, like I said, I've helped before. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. I know people that I cook
Yeah,
and I
it is
cook
basically
well.
cooking.
So it is really just cooking,
Yes.
just in a less solid form. So I don't know. I don't know what's wrong
Yeah.
with me. I'm missing a step in the process somewhere.
Could be. Could be. Yeah. There's lots of reasons why it might not ferment. But yes. That's sad. That's unfortunate.
Well,
I'm
I've
glad you aren't
Googled
discouraged
research on
though.
that too. No,
Okay.
I'll get it down eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, my first rice pilaf, I called it Cajun rice pilaf because it was blackened. So,
That's not so bad. The crunchy rice on the bottom of a good rice pilaf, that's pretty good too.
oh, this was
Beyond
definitely
crunchy.
beyond crunchy.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
It was definitely a smoked flavor to it. But I did it again and now I'm okay with it. So I
Yeah.
just got to keep trying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm interested to hear how it turns out the next time you get to give it a go.
The beer or the rice pilaf? Just
Well,
kidding.
either one. I do like rice pilaf a lot. Or
Just
risotto.
kidding. Oh, that's also on my list of things to master.
Ah, yeah. So it looks like the Craft Beer Hall of Fame exists virtually at this time. But when it gets a home, if that's their goal, that would be a very fun place to visit. And I kind of wonder, like, what would the tap room be like in the Craft Beer Hall of Fame?
It should be all unicorns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? That's it, like it should just have a whale on the front
Yeah.
and be
Right.
like, this
And
is
and
the
they
beer
should be
she's
on
been
tap.
looking for. Yes.
Every brewery that makes one of those unicorns needs to send a keg to this place. Yeah, that would be pretty fun to visit in that case. Well, interesting. That's a good find. I did not know that there was a Craft Beer Hall of Fame. I'm certainly not against any of the people on that nominee list, and I'm sure we could come up with others that belong in there. But that's a pretty good opening nominee list. So interesting. Good
I
find.
definitely agree. So what you got?
Let's see. What have I got? I will stop sharing that. I have some old articles that I have to remember exactly what they were. Oh, yes. Um, this one is an article abstract, and because it is a research article, it's kind of boring. But we'll share it anyway because I love this stuff. So what I found is that they it kind of in the vein of non-alcoholic beer, they have found a way to use a thing called porous liquids in order to remove alcohol. These things were originally
Okay.
used or are currently in use to work with plane deicer. So airplane deicer, every winter you see all those the machines out there spraying the play down with all that
I'm
stuff.
familiar.
It's hugely toxic, and it's full of alcohol, bad alcohol, bad for the environment and stuff. But these porous liquids apparently can remove the alcohol from the deicer, the used deicer, so that way it's not such an environmental problem. So that's kind of cool to begin with. But then they are starting to use it on, well, beer and the like. I think they first used it on wine, is what it said in here somewhere. It's been a while since I've read this. But oh yeah, first used against gins and wines, and it lowered their alcohol content. One quote from the article, I don't know if I'll find it, but one quote from the article was that it was removed it potentially. Here it is. Potentially retaining all the flavor. So I'm guessing they didn't try it afterward. But it's an
Oh, that's
interesting
funny.
concept. You could take any beer, such as that delicious 13% beer that you're drinking right now, you could remove all the alcohol from it. I don't know if that's good or not, but you could do it.
So we're going to use chemicals to take away the chemicals that hurt us. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's like decaffeinating coffee.
I mean, that's kind of the way our life is, though, going right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So,
interesting.
speaking of non-alcoholic beer, one of the other articles that I came across is that Tom Holland of Spider-Man fame has
Yes.
also started his own non-alcoholic beer. And I'm not going to lie, the part that I found the funniest of this entire article is that he was like, we want to make sure that it tasted good. So we were trying it on a regular basis. And his girlfriend does not like craft beer, does not like beer at all. So he would have her try it. And if she said it was okay, he'd be like, we probably need to try this again. Which I thought was hilarious. He's like, oh, she doesn't like beer. We need to start over.
That's funny.
So I did find it interesting that he took such a huge part in trying everything and making sure that it was okay, that he wanted to be that involved in it. So, which, I mean, obviously, if you have decided that you're going to be sober and you want something to be able to drink when you're around people who are drinking, you're going to want it to taste the way you want it to taste. So, I definitely have a high opinion of that. I'm willing to try that beer just to see, what he thought of it, just to see what I think of what he thought was really good. I guess that
Yeah.
if that's
Right.
the way I want to put it.
It seems to be, well, it's obviously a growing segment of the market. So there's money to be made there apparently, and people are interested in it. Yeah, and I could see, I mean, if he's sober and he has found a way to be happy, and to be able to drink beer safely and keep his sobriety, then good for him. I could understand wanting to
Absolutely. And the fact that he's trying
the
to bring it
flavors.
to other people. Yep. I think him trying to bring it to other people is pretty cool as well. I will say, if by chance somebody actually listens to this podcast for some reason, girl, there's a beer for you. I can find it.
That's right. That's right. You got to be the beer Sherpa. It's always fun. So yeah, it sounds like he started with a dry January, which, as I've said many times, I celebrate a wet January.
Damp January here.
Yeah, damp January is good. I don't mind dry January. It's rough on the beverage industry, which I guess is fine. Like I don't make my money there, so that's okay. But it's I don't know. There's something weird to me about using a calendar to change your habits, or to try to change your habits. I guess if dry January sticks like it did for Tom Holland apparently, then that's good. But if you do the dry January and then you come back with a vengeance in February, or you just completely resume whatever habit you were trying to break or reduce, then I don't know that it has accomplished what it should accomplish.
I agree with that 100%, which is why I do
That's my
damp January.
yeah. Yeah, and that's fine.
You know,
I think it's always good to be aware of how much you're
but
drinking.
right. Technically, I celebrate damp whatever month it is because I'm always looking at that.
That's right. I always know
You
I could
know,
have another beer, but I didn't.
right. Well, sometimes.
Right. Speaking of which, I have a biking adventure story that I kind of want to share. It happened yesterday, in fact. So Thursday, my friend and I do a bonus trivia at a nearby bar. It's my local. I go there pretty regularly. Some Thursdays we were able to do the trivia. There is
You're breaking up
a
there. Is it you or me?
oh, it's probably me. Let me close this Forbes window. Okay, hopefully this
Okay.
is better. My poor potato of a laptop.
Yes.
But the bike the bike route it's only like 4 miles to bike there. It's nothing. It's pretty easy to do. But Thursday it happened to be dark and it was unexpectedly raining, and so um, it was hard to see. But there's a new road under construction that would be a wonderful shortcut. For one thing, it's under construction, and so there's no cars on it. But for another, it is just kind of the perfect route to get from my house to this brewery. It probably cut off, I don't know, a quarter of a mile, which isn't really all that much, but it's perfect. So I tried taking that route in the dark and rain, and it turns out it is not paved all the way. And I ended up pushing my bike through a bunch of mud in order to get to the bar. But the important part to point out here, this was a poor decision that I made while I was sober. So
So,
I
which
did.
path did you take to get home? Was it the same
Uh,
path
I
you had to push through the mud?
I s- I stuck to the rivers and the streams that I'm used to. And we took
That's
we took the
smart.
normal path
See?
home. Yeah, yeah.
So, sober you helped tipsy you. It's all
That's
good.
right. That's right. Yeah, and my drunk friend helped my drunk ass to get home on the normal route. We did also make the good decision not to have that one extra beer because we had, 2 or 3 more questions left in trivia, but we had finished our beers. We did make the good decision not to get another one and be stuck there for
Oh,
however long we were stuck there.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
I don't know that I would always make that decision.
we do not always make that decision, so I was very proud of us. I had already made all my bad decisions for the night prior to getting there.
At least that's what the mud on your shoes said.
That's yes, and I left my bike in the backyard. I spent most of today hosing it down. That poor bike. I do have one other article we can discuss that
Okay.
I will bring up. It's another one that I had looked up a while back. I like the weird sciencey ones. So this one is about brewing beer in space.
Oh,
Yes. Um, yeah. So some researchers have studied microgravity's effect on fermentation, which is interesting. I forgot where they did this. Let's see. Where did I take my notes? Oh yes, it just says microgravity was simulated here on Earth. I know of one way they do that, and that is in that plane, the Vomit Comet plane, that does the big parabolic curves, and so you get a few minutes of microgravity where people are floating around and stuff, and there's funny videos when the celebrities get to do it. Um, I know that way. I don't know what this other way was that they used, but they experimented with it somehow on Earth in order to see how it affects fermentation. So for one thing, that gives us beer, but for another, it can give healthful foods for astronauts on longer space journeys, or whatever comes next from all of that. So I thought it was very interesting. Yeah, so the things that they list out here is that it's important for making things like bread, yogurt, and kombucha. It's also going to be important for making biofuels, which could potentially be very important during space exploration and other microgravity environments. So I thought this was a pretty interesting article, and I am continuing to blather on a little bit because Wendy had to run away for a second. But the things that they found were that in microgravity, I think it's important to point out one thing that they brewed loggers. So it is the year of the logger, whatever year this article is from. But some of the things that they found was that fewer esters were produced, which is good because those are some of the off products, the off flavor products that we don't like. That the fermentation rate was sped up, so we could get our beer faster in theory. And they, so now that you're back, Wendy, I would like to ask you an important question.
Yes.
So, knowing that there could be a brewery on a future space station, does this change your feelings on going to space?
Well, yes, because my goal is to go to every brewery that ever existed. So,
Uh-huh. But if there was a space station, would you have wanted to go there anyway?
I don't know. It seems like a really long flight.
Yeah,
I
I
do
guess
kind of like the zero gravity part of it, though.
that seems like it would be fun and interesting. Indeed. And the beer there might actually be better because there's fewer esters produced and the
Right?
fermentation rate was sped up.
So that would be like less hangovers then, right?
That's right. I guess. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think that comes more from if you eat the yeast leavings, that helps.
Wait, it helps make less?
It helps make the hangover less, yes. So you should drink the trub or that stuff at the bottom of the can or
All that
bottle.
junk that everybody complains about.
Yeah, that stuff will help you with help you fight hangovers. There's lots of vitamins and stuff in there. It's good for you. I don't know if it's true, but it might be.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah,
You know,
it's got to be some benefit, right? That stuff's not tasty.
or you're just causing a whole bunch of people to drink all the crap at the bottom of the
Right.
can that they don't need to.
There's definitely going to be some sort of reaction when you do it.
I mean, some breweries tell us to roll it in, so it can't be bad for us.
Yeah, a good wheat beer, you roll that stuff in, it just makes it a better wheat beer.
True story.
All right. Did you have any other any other articles or anything out there?
I don't today.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either. I'm all out of recent beer stories.
I thought I don't. Do I have a recent beer story? I don't. I did go. I'm in the process of collecting some of the amazing Michigan beers for a beer friend from out of state. And I found that it's really hard to decide which beers to put in the basket.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I put some of my favorites, but then I just put breweries that I know are very well received throughout the state.
Yeah. Is your friend outside of Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
So I tried to pick beers that they can't get outside of Michigan.
Right. And it's always been kind of a weird thing for me. Like, I don't know what distributes outside of Indiana anymore because Upland does now all of a sudden.
Oh yeah, I came to Upland here now.
Yeah, I strongly recommend them. They're so good. But when I was up there, when we saw Nick the Brewer and we
Yep.
had a wonderful bottle share, I collected a little over half of the beers I need for my advent calendars that I make for my friends every year from the Total Wine there. And my goal was similar to yours, to find different breweries, different styles, mostly the breweries that we can't get in Indiana. So
So you
that
went
was
to the
my
Total Wine in
audience.
Michigan to get.
I know. I went to, yeah, because your Total Wines may have the same beers. I don't know. I only went to the one, but we don't. A lot of those breweries are not here in Indiana.
Right. So you don't. They can't. Right. It's different beers no matter where you go.
Yeah.
No, Total Wine here. You went to the one in Novi?
Yes.
Yeah, they have an amazing selection. I spent an embarrassing amount of time there the first time I went.
Yeah.
And an
Oh.
embarrassing amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was actually pretty happy with whatever my bill was. I don't remember, and I don't want to say because some of my friends listen to this. So
What I actually found surprising about Total Wine, because I mean, obviously I've been there in other states, but I had never been to the one in Michigan, and there was a whole aisle that had like variety packs from breweries that I had no idea made variety packs.
yeah,
Because they don't sell them at the local stores here; they sell them at the Total Wines.
right. Yeah, and variety packs, those can be kind of interesting. There's usually 4 in a 12 pack, 4 flavors in a 12 pack, right? And there's
Right.
one of them is the one that you didn't really want.
Always.
Oh, so yeah, that's the problem with the variety packs.
Well, I've said that. I was just talking to somebody about that the other day because I was like, I'm at this store, I'm trying to find beers for my friend. I would love it, even just for me, if I could go and get a 4-pack with more than one beer in it. Like those beers from, I think we were talking about offline, the Ferndale Project has those projects that they're doing where it's got 2 different beers in it. I think that's amazing. I would much rather get a 4-pack with 2 different beers in it than get 4 of the same beer. What if I don't like it?
Right.
You know, if I'm at the brewery, it's one thing, but if I'm at Total Wine or wherever, I want to be able to try different things without paying an arm and a leg for a single beer.
Yeah, I hear you. And I do like our Total Wine. They do singles. They pretty much everything they have in a multi-pack they'll do as singles as well, and the appropriate upcharge for it. That's fine because I didn't have to buy 4 of them in order to see if I like it.
Right.
So you can always make your own, which is nice. But yeah, I did have a good time at the Total Wine there, and I did buy a whole ton of beer. Most of it I'm giving away. The other ones, so I've been to the one in Wisconsin. That was after going to New Glarus, which I was reminded was a year ago today. That was the last time I was at New Glarus.
As much as I love their beer, I've never actually made it to their facility.
It's nice. Apparently they're expanding again, so that'll be interesting. I don't know what that'll do to their tours, and it's a self-guided tour now. Well, you can do the hard hat tour, but it's mostly a self-guided tour if you don't get the hard hat ticket.
And Wisconsinites, I don't know how to say that. Man, they are amazing when it comes to drinking beer.
They set the record every year.
I think it's just amazing that New Glarus is that high up every year and doesn't distribute.
Yeah, just to Wisconsin, and
my
somehow
mind.
they're still in the top 10. Yeah. It's fun. And so one tip there, I guess, is that they'll have a couple of beers at the brewery that you might not find nearby. You'll probably find it in the town. The bottle shop there will likely have all the flavors because that's kind of their thing. They want you to go out and experience the town and go to the local businesses and stuff. They're pretty cool like that. But I always end up going to Woodman's. Woodman's is grocery store chain in Wisconsin, a little bit in Illinois, and they have the best prices on beer in general, but on New Glarus that I usually find anywhere. So that's where I go to buy my New Glarus beer after going to New Glarus. But one of the Woodmans, the one in Madison that I ended up at, is just down the street from a Total Wine as well. So once again, you can go, and the Total Wine prices were pretty comparable to the Woodmans. They were pretty reasonable. And you could buy cases of Spotted Cow or whatever at that Total Wine.
I remember I went to Great Taste and we stopped, and I believe it was a Woodman's that we went to. And I found a New Holland beer for like $3. And she's like, one of the girls that was with us, she was a distributor. She goes, you know that you can buy that in Michigan, right? And I'm like, well, of course I do, but not for $3.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to buy it at this price.
Yeah. I don't know how Woodman's does it. But yeah, I got out of there with about a quarter trunk full because there were 4 of us in the car. About a quarter trunk full for less than $100.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
I do feel like Michigan beer is much higher priced than other states. Just in going to being a part of trade groups and stuff like that, like when you trade with somebody and we say, let's trade $30 worth, their $30 is way more than my $30 is worth. I always end up having to put extra stuff in there because I'm like, that's not enough for me to send you knowing what I'm going to get from you.
Yeah, no, I hear that. It's tough to do prices, especially, when places, I suspect it has to do with taxation and exactly what the markups are in the 3-party system. I think enough places do the 3-tier distribution that it's, I wouldn't say universal, but it's common enough.
Right.
But yeah, if the taxes are being applied at each step of that, or are just higher, then we see that.
I know there's a lot of people that are kind of against Total Wine. But when I went to Georgia, I went to Atlanta to visit my friend. And the first time I went, I could not get Creature Comfort anywhere. Not just Creature Comfort, Tropicalia.
Yeah.
You couldn't get it anywhere.
Yeah.
And we went to Total Wine, and I talked to the guy about it, and he's like, listen, this is the day we get it. You have to get here by this time or it's gone.
Uh-huh.
And I will never forget that because it was the only way I was ever going to be able to try it. I mean, I had it on tap, but it was the only way I was ever going to be able to take it home.
Right.
And it was one of the first IPAs I ever liked.
That's one I've had on tap in the Atlanta airport because it's in the Atlanta airport all the time now. But I don't know that I've ever seen it in containers or been able to bring it home.
Well, the first time I was there, everybody told me if you don't get it the day that it comes out, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's still like that. Apparently people in Georgia are like, why do you want this beer? But if you don't get it the day it comes out, it's gone. So it doesn't make any sense to me why they would say that. But,
yeah. Might just be the circle you were running with.
I mean, it's the same. It's the same thing with like Founders KBS when that was going on.
Right.
That height of that, people were like, you have to buy it right away, and then now it's everywhere. So I don't know.
Or the old CBS. Yeah.
Oh,
Even
CBS.
worse, yeah.
Man, I miss that beer.
I still have a bottle of it
get their shit together.
I think 2015. I don't know. It was the one we did a clone of. My brother-in-law and we did a homebrew clone of it. Yeah. I still have a bottle of it down in the basement for the next time we get together, so we can drink it.
That was my whale that I never thought I would ever get at that point. Like I left work early. I found out that one of the restaurants near me was going to release the beer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was before they started selling it. You couldn't just buy it in a store. You had to go to Founders to get it at that point in time. But they had released it, and I left work early. Like, I went into my boss and was like, listen, I need to go and do this.
Yeah.
And I went and stood in line at the Ashley's in Westland, and we stood in line for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you were able to buy a ticket for a sample. That was it. Just a
Oh.
little 4-ounce taster. And the person in front of me got the last ticket.
Oh no.
And I was like, are you kidding me? I stood in line all this time.
Oh no.
And they had a few extras that they could have sold, but people were being so obnoxious about the fact that they stood in line and they ran out of tickets.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's something that happens with beer releases. At least it did all the time back then.
It used to, yeah. Yeah. It probably still does for some.
So I'm sure it does at some places, but I don't think that beer releases have the same hype that they used to have.
They don't. I don't think so either.
But one of the bartenders actually knew me, and he was
Okay.
like, sit down, chill out, just
Yeah.
wait. And before they took the taps off, he got me a sample of it.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a liquor store I used to go to on the BCBS chase. I've given that up too. There's no point. There's still plenty of Bourbon County brand stout sitting on shelves today.
Right.
So luckily you don't have to go chase it anymore. Not even the variants, some of the variants anyway. A couple of them will sell out, but not all of them.
I do want that macaroon this year.
Oh, I hadn't even looked at I didn't even look at the list yet.
I just happened to look at it last night, and that macaroon
Yeah.
looks delicious.
Interesting. It probably has coconut in it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I don't care for coconut.
Okay. Well, if you can get it, grab one, and I'll take
Okay.
it.
All right. I will keep that in mind. Yeah, because I will see you at 4 Elf Day, right? You'll be there?
Yes. I will be at
Excellent.
4 Elf Day.
Excellent. All
We will
right. So
all be
yeah.
at 4 Elf Day. So if you guys are going to head out, you should head out to Marshall for this event. It's definitely a fun event.
Yeah.
And we will all be there.
And
All
I'm
of
not
us
saying
in our
Wendy
glory.
will share her macaroon because I don't think that's legal up there.
No. We don't beer share here.
Yeah. I don't think it's legal there. But maybe Wendy will have a macaroon. Yes. But the liquor store, I used to go there regularly, and they knew me enough. But I kind of stopped going there. But I know that they put some of the variants of BCBS behind the counter for their regulars who didn't want to stand in line or what have you. You know, the people they know. And I have benefited from that once or twice, but I'm not on their list anymore. I don't go up there often enough anymore. It's all unfortunate.
When I first moved in with my grandmother, it was right around the BCBS time. So I was like a couple months off of going to my regular store all the time. And I was building a rapport with my new regular store. And I went into my new regular store and asked them if they got any Goose Island. And they literally lied to my face and said, no, they didn't get it. And I was like, okay. And I posted something about it. Like, man, I miss being a regular. Apparently coming in once a week to buy new beer doesn't make you a regular. I wonder what that number is to make you a regular.
Right.
And I got a private message from the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I don't even know what being a regular is at this point, because if I spend $50 at your store every week, you know, is that a regular or?
Yeah, I was the regular or a regular. I still am because it's right next to the pizza place where I pick up my pizza about once a week. But so when I first moved here and found this place and the pizza place, I was very happy because they had a great craft beer selection. And I ended up talking to the nice lady whose name I don't remember because it's been a number of years now. And she was in charge of that. And she was doing a phenomenal job. She was getting new stuff on the shelves all the time, and it was selling really fast because it was basically the only good craft beer store on the west side of Indianapolis. So she had a plenty big audience, and it was known. And they moved her to another store, which is maybe 1.5 miles away. I don't know why they had two so close together, but they moved her up there, and she once again worked her magic and had wonderful shelves up there. And they still are maintaining their shelves, but the original place that is more convenient for me and next to my pizza place, they pretty much stopped. Now it's just the standard shelf sitters from the local places. It's unfortunate.
Well, I have noticed that a lot of the beer stores that I go to regularly have less variety available.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I could pick you out 100 seltzers to try.
Yeah, and we've started to get plenty of CBDs that you could try. Lots of the mixed cocktails. They've taken up a lot of the shelf space. I guess it's just a commentary on the market right now.
Yeah. Eventually it'll come back.
Eventually it'll come
I believe
back.
it will.
And Hoosier Brewing, they do a good fruited sour, like the stupidly fruity sours. They do a good job with those, and there are usually 6 or 7 varieties of those on the shelf. So that's something, but that's not something I want to drink all the time.
Oh, but it is so nice when you get it every now and then.
Yeah,
The
exactly. Every now
smooch
and then.
type stuff.
Yeah.
Who knew I wanted something like that, but I did.
The stuff you can drink with a spoon. Yes.
Yes.
All right, Wendy. I think we filled 50 minutes. That's pretty good.
We did okay.
We did okay.
Sorry I had to disappear. There was a little kerfuffle. I had to go and figure out what was going on, but
That's okay. You get it done. Hopefully we will get Go Brewing rescheduled, because I have lots and lots of questions about
I have so many questions.
non-alcoholic brewing and a non-alcoholic brewery. Like that, yeah.
Right?
So many questions.
So many, and they're growing like crazy. So I have a million questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I did go on a hunt for them last month, and they were in the liquor stores around me at some point. Like I would ask. They weren't any on the shelves when I checked, but I would ask, and they had them in the liquor stores, which
Right?
I don't know. Non-alcoholic beer. I don't know why it needs to be in a liquor store, but there you go.
Again, that's another question I have to ask.
That's another question, right?
So many questions.
So many questions.
Anyways, you got to do it. I'm never going to do it right.
All right. Let's see. No matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft.
Cheers.